Thank you very much for coming on. So yeah, if we start right at the start of your playing career, if that's all right, Southend United is where you got your first big break. But I know you were at Witham Town before that. And were you at anyone else prior to that, or how did your footballing journey start?
Yeah, I started off at Southend United under Ronnie Hanley. Went on to Bowers. Went on to Witham, where Danny Greaves was my manager, and I think obviously Danny knew and had contacts at Southend. Dave Webb asked me to come in for a trial. Played at Roots Hall versus Leyton Orient, and I thought I had a decent game. The boss pulled me in after the game and offered me a contract, a 6 months contract, which obviously I took, even though it was half the money that I was offered that I was working for my dad.
Wow.
But a great opportunity, and absolutely loved my time at Southend.
Yeah, and your time as a player was incredible, full of highs, weren't they? I mean, the promotions, the Newcastle game. There's so many things to sort of talk about. What instantly springs to mind when you think about playing for Southend United?
Obviously, the back-to-back promotions, but I think I used to stand on the North Bank on a Friday night while I was at Witham, Basildon and Bowers, and used to watch Southend play on a Friday night. So that was the club I supported from a young age. So to have that opportunity to fulfil my dream really and play for my local side was one that I'll always remember.
Yeah, and for it to go so well with those promotions, I know you always tell me you missed out on that Bury game, didn't you? So you had chicken pox, didn't you? So that season as well, it was just an incredible season. Even if you didn't play that game, you still played a huge part.
Yeah, I was devastated. I've got to be honest. I couldn't travel. I had chicken pox, and obviously couldn't travel with the team to that last game. So, yeah, I think that was a big low for me in the fact that we'd done so well that year, but obviously I couldn't play in that game. But like I say, from going from Witham and joining Southend, the work that I had to put in physically as a person to make me stronger, etc., was, I don't think people realise how tough that is. Being a pro footballer, but yeah, fantastic time. Had 10 great years there, or almost 10 years. Capped off with a testimonial that, again, I'll never forget. And it always comes to an end one day. Never forget that I got released by Ronnie Whelan before Frankie Banks' testimonial. It was Ronnie pulled me in the office before we was going to go out to play in Frankie Banks' testimonial, and said that he weren't going to renew my contract. So obviously that was a disappointing time, but I'd had 10 fantastic years there, and 10 years I'll never forget.
When you're constantly, so you sort of came from non-league to Southend, and then when you're at Southend, you go up again and you're into what is now the Championship. How hard is that mentally and confidence-wise to sort of almost think, right, I've got to show that I can do this? Do you have to have that inner self-belief that you can do it? And how is that when you're constantly going up a level? Is that tough, or is that exciting proposition?
I think it's exciting. I think, where we got back-to-back promotions, and most of the squad stayed together. Don't get me wrong, obviously certain players come in, but I think, a lot of us were together for quite a while, and was just on such a good journey, fantastic journey. And to play in the championship was a dream. It's a fantastic standard. Obviously the money weren't quite what they're getting nowadays, but not bitter about that one bit. Like I say, I love my time at Southend. Had a fantastic time there. Got some great memories, and along the way, got some fantastic friends. So really loved it.
and from there on to Canvey as well, which was extremely successful FA Trophy wins, promotion. So that must have been a really exciting chapter of your career that you had as well.
Yeah, going from Southend, I had a couple of offers, Lincoln, funnily enough, and Leyton Orient, and but I had an agent at the time called Rachel Anderson, and she called me. I was going to sign for Leyton Orient, but she called me and said that Jeff King had been on the phone, and would I have a chat with him, which I duly did, and I had 5 unbelievable years at Canvey. I've got to say, one of the best times of my career. 2 promotions. We won the FA Trophy, but again, we had such a fantastic side. I got on really well with Jeff King. Glenn Pennyfather was our coach, who I've got a fantastic relationship with. And again, it was such a good 5 years. I really did enjoy it.
Yeah. And then you had a tough decision to make, weren't you? Because you sort of could have carried on with Canvey, and then the coaching side of things started to involve at Southend, where you'd gone back to at that point. So was that difficult to call time in your playing career?
Yeah, it was. Although I think I was around 37, 38 at the time. So probably didn't have too much time left in the legs. But yeah, I went back to Southend, got involved with the Centre of Excellence, run the Centre of Excellence, then become youth team manager, reserve team manager, and then obviously got the caretaker's job after Steve Wignall left Southend. And it spiralled from there. I'll be honest, I never thought I would be a manager. Probably got thrown in at the deep end, but things went really well. And after about 450 games, Ron decided to give me the job.
I was going to say that was one of the longest spells ever as a caretaker manager, wasn't it? It did seem to go on for quite some time.
It did seem to drag on. I think the trouble was we'd done quite well, so he couldn't bring anyone else in at the time. So in the end, he obviously offered us his job, and obviously me and Brushy went forward from there. And again, 7 years there, and 7 interesting years. But again, no, loved it. Highs and lows. You're always going to get highs and lows as a manager. And we certainly had a bit of both.
Yeah, but to have back-to-back promotions as a player and then as a manager at the same club, there can't be too many people that have done that. And I guess were there similarities in the togetherness of the team and the spirit that you were able to generate? Because that was a fantastic group that you had that went up the leagues together.
Yeah, I think very similar to Dave Webb. I still call him the boss. He kept most of the players on through the promotions, and to be fair, I've done very similar. We kept a lot of the players going up from League 2 to League 1 and up to the Championship, and it just it formed a good bonding, a good team spirit. We didn't have any superstars. Obviously, Freddie scored a lot of goals for us, but everyone was together. And to get back-to-back promotions and to get to the Championship, and just fell short, which was a shame. But again, some great memories being in charge over the 7 years.
Yeah, 100%. And how did it come around that you signed Freddie Eastwood? Obviously, that was such a pivotal moment. Do you remember how that one all came around? I guess, was he someone that you knew from when he was at Southend as a kid?
No, I think Freddie at the time, I know he'd been released from West Ham and was at Grays, and I'd watched Grays a few times because there was a few players, Dennis Ollie, Freddie, Gary Hooper, were all coming out. We're all at Grays, and we needed someone to score goals, and Freddie was doing well at Grays, and we took a little punt, and obviously his first game he scores 3 goals, and the rest is history with Freddie. I mean, he done fantastic for the football club, and earned his move to Wolverhampton Wanderers, and obviously went to Coventry. But as a goal scorer, was tremendous for the Southend.
Yeah, and you'll all be remembered for that wonderful night against Manchester United when he scored the goal, and it was a real sort of team effort. Is that your most memorable night as a manager, or will the promotions perhaps mean a little bit more?
As a one-off, obviously beating Man United was unbelievable. Such a good night, and I've watched the video back a couple of times, and we played really well. I know Flav's made some really important saves, but we played ever so well outside of the goal. It wasn't a case of sitting back and we were getting pummeled. I thought we played some really good stuff, and deserved the victory. And that's one thing I can say. I've got 100% record against Alex Ferguson. So,
and he was incredible to you, though, wasn't he? He was very sporting and humble in defeat, wasn't he? The way that he responded to you was sort of quite touching.
Yeah, he was. He called me and invited me up to Carrington to watch Man United train, and so I went up there on my own. Went into his office. I think they had a European game midweek on a Thursday, I think it was. So I stayed with him for about 30 minutes in his office. We walked down the steps, and there was press everywhere. It was unbelievable. Yeah. But I went out with him, watched the whole training session, had lunch with him and the players, and drove back. Bearing in mind we beat them, and for him to offer me to go up there was unbelievable, and a memory I'll never forget.
No, that's incredible. You had a lot of success at Southend, but it is Southend, so it's a club like no other. And towards the end, there were some real sort of testing times, weren't there, when players were going months without getting paid, and your job became almost impossible, really. Must have been tough for you.
Yeah, without a doubt. It obviously wasn't highlighted as much back then, but players, and I'm talking players now, and coaching staff, we hadn't been paid for 3-4 months. So, it's nothing new to me what's been going on over the last year. But over the last year, players have actually been paid. We hadn't been paid, and Kevin obviously knows this, but we hadn't been paid for 3 or 4 months. So it was a tough time, very difficult. And obviously, I know we got relegated, but I still say that had something to do with it. If financially you're not correct, then you're always going to struggle. Obviously Kevin's going through that. Hopefully, looks like coming out the other end with that. But that's been tough times. But just great to see. It looks like it was going to be November the 4th, but now it's
been delayed a bit.
Been delayed a little bit. So, I think everyone will just be pleased when everything's signed over and away they go. Because I still believe with the team Kev's got there that I believe I still believe they can get in the playoffs. I really do. I watched them play this year, first time, and they were very, very good. They were excellent on the night I watched. And looking at their side, if they can, obviously get the squad a bit bigger, bring in 2 or 3 players, I believe that they could get in the playoffs. Not putting any extra pressure on Kev, but I truly believe that.
Yeah, and you touched on earlier how much Southend means to you. So when your spell as manager came to an end, that must have been a really sort of difficult period for you.
Oh, without that, I was devastated. I was gutted, and the way it went about was even worse. But I don't really want to go into that. But yeah, I found out. I knew 3 or 4 days that I was going to get the sack before I was told, which I don't think is the right way to do it. So that annoyed me. But played for the club I love, managed the club I love, and it always comes to an end at some stage, whoever it may be. But the first result I look for on a Saturday or a Tuesday night is how the Blues have done.
Yeah, and from there it was Lincoln, and that was a tough job to take. Do you? I don't know whether it's all right to ask. Regret taking that now? You're just so keen to sort of get back into it that you sort of took it in the excitement, or was it maybe the wrong move at the point in hindsight?
I spoke to Brushy. We had a chat, and obviously we got offered the job. In hindsight, it was the wrong move for us. We were going to a club that we got promised. There was money available, and we went in there, and it was work with what you got. We couldn't bring anyone in. The only thing we could do was bring in some loan players, which is great until they've got to go back, and then you're left with what you had before. And to be honest, the squad there, that they weren't good enough by a long way. They had no desire, in my opinion, the desire wasn't there to do well, and it was totally the opposite of what we had at Southend with the players, team spirit, etc. So yeah, in hindsight, should never have taken it. But we tried to get back in ASAP, and yeah, it was the wrong move. But we live and learn. I've got to be honest. Coming out of Lincoln and after that demoralised me a little bit, if I'm honest. And I certainly weren't in a rush to try and get back in. That's for sure.
Yeah, but you enjoy it now. You're still in management at Heybridge, and I know you're working at Southend College as well. So are you happy in what you're doing now?
Yeah, without a doubt, the college is going really, really well. We won the league last year. We play under West Ham Foundation. We won the under-19 National League, which was great. Only 2 years ago, we had Colin Nadang with us, and I got him a trial at Southend, and obviously he's the first team keeper, which is a fantastic achievement by Colin, and looks good for the college. And at Heybridge, loving it. Got a really good group of players, fantastic team spirit. Didn't quite make it last year. We lost in a playoff final. So again, this year we're looking to try and push to get in that playoffs. But no, really enjoying it. It's a fantastic club at Heybridge. Like I say, good team spirit, good people. It's run really well, and from my point of view, I just want to do well for the football club.
Brilliant, superb. Thank you very much indeed for coming on, Steve and Brian Tilson. Thank you very much, and I hope to see you soon.
Top man, Chris. Take care, mate.
Take care. Thank you.